So I'm recording this session. So today I won't be learning anything new because I wanted to first perfect what we looked at last week. Then we shall proceed like that. So we're going to mostly focus on marking out the strong support and resistances, then also drawing a trend line. Marking out this previous or strong support and resistances, and also drawing a trend line. Now with time, we shall see more advanced ways of finding support and resistance, of course, because this is not what I use. I use some of these basics like trend line, then also marking out like support and resistances like this one. Now this is a strong resistance level, like this one here. Yeah, I mark that resistance, then a support like this. If it's the market hadn't reached here, I would mark out something like this. What I would go with this week. Just like that. So with time, we shall learn more. I use something called psychological levels and also order blocks with signals. It's a precious indicator. I never had me talking about it, this one. But let's go slowly and we see, because remember, we have to master the foundation. We have to master the foundation before we start building on top of it. So if we master support and resistances, most strategies are built around the basics, and most of them are support and resistances. Be it something called moving averages, which we shall look at with the basics. Be it anything called Bollinger Bands, which we shall see. Be it SMC, that's support and resistance, but in a more advanced way. There are trend lines of support and resistance. So let's just master this, then we shall look at the rest. So I saw your chart had so many lines. That's how I began to. I was so confused. I would mark out this point, then mark out this point. Now you are using something called horizontal lines, like this one. You're using. So we are 3 now. So you are using something called horizontal lines like this, also this, and mine is kind of, the opacity has been reduced, but you are using something like that. But if you get a PC, I know you're going to get one. You start you have a clear picture of what you're really doing. So I saw you marking out so many points, and that's how I began. Trust me, the chart was too crowded. I would mark out literally every point on the chart, every point. So I would get confused. I would get really confused. But with time, I started reducing them. I started marking out the important ones. Now, we're going to first begin by doing marking out from the bigger time frame. Now, what I do, of course, in future, we shall look at something called top-down analysis, where you analyze from a bigger time frame, then we enter on a smaller time frame. But for now, let's first learn how to mark out the stronger support and resistances so that our charts don't be crowdy. Now, this is what you are doing at first when you sent me the chart. No, okay, you have a PC. Okay, we shall get time and talk about that, Herod. So this is how you marked it out, because I know you work part-time. I think you work part-time. I remember what you told my boss. So this is how you are doing it. You'd come on the daily, you mark this out, then you come again, you mark this out. Though you are using the horizontal line, then you come and mark this out. Then you come and mark this out. You'd mark this out also. Though you are using horizontal lines, right? I mark this out since and look, this is just the daily time frame. Mark this out. Now I'm going to organize it in a way that you'll see how easy it is, and you'll go and practice. Forex is all about practice. The more practice you get, the bigger or the better you become. So you would mark this out too. And this is just the daily time frame. Then you would be like, I think I've marked out most. There's one I've left out. This is one. Though you are using horizontal lines, I don't want to play around with the opacity, but then you say trend line, draw a trend line here. Then you'll be like, hey, I see one here too. Since it has begun, mark this out also. I see how crowded it is. You're just on the daily time frame now. When you go to the 4-hour time frame, you're like, there are so many. Now here you bring your horizontal line, you mark this out. Let me just increase the opacity. Let's increase the opacity so that we see what we're doing. Then you also mark this out. It would get too crowded. Mark this out. And you would mark this out too. Now you see, you're just on the 4-hour time frame. You're not even too far. And in actual sense, you enter the 15-minute time frame. Now look, you would also come draw the trend line on the 4-hour time frame. Like this. Then you would be like, I see a point. But this one you wouldn't draw. So you run on the 1 hour too. You're like, 1 hour, I don't see anything. But I see a break of structure, meaning the market is forming higher highs, higher lows. So at the end of the day, it would really confuse you, right? So let me just show you how we do it, like in an organized way, and we're going to practice, and we shall have something called the top-down analysis. Top-down analysis where you'll be able to analyze from bigger time frames to smaller time frames, then after be able to take a trade, right? So we're going to look at that. So let me show you how we mark out support and resistances. Now, in Forex, you mark out the previous ones. So those are the ones you consider at that time. So that you don't confuse yourself. I don't know if you can still hear me though. Yeah, it's okay. So that you don't confuse yourself, right? What you do, you come out and mark the current one. Now, this is our current support, these two, because the market hasn't broken above. So what I do, I normally put a rectangle there. So that I take in all the noise. Now, when I'm drawing the rectangle, now you see this week, for example, this week down here, these two. Get these two. These 2 weeks. What I do, I draw a big rectangle there and I push it to the. I used to do this. I go to where the week ends, then I take it to the left. Now, guys on this live, Harold may be on a different level that you guys may be on. You may all be on different levels. You get. So just learn something, maybe something you left out or something you don't know. And if you don't know, we're going to have lives, and you get here and shall pass this, shall be able to make something from the Forex market. So this is what I used to do. And it would be too big. And sometimes I would do in the 15-minute time frame and it's too big. So what I would do, if it's too big, I would put this. This is what we call a horizontal ray. I'd mark it out like that. And I would also come and mark out where it begins from. So that the rectangle is not too big. So that when the market gets here, I know this area is too strong, but this is on the daily time frame. I would go down to the 4-hour time frame and know exact points. So let me first remove this. So I would mark out, since it's not our previous point, I was just giving you guys an example. So since the market is around here doing analysis, I would also come and mark out my support. I would say where is my strong support. I would mark out this area. Now, of course, these are the basics of support and resistance. As we go on, we're going to look at psychological levels, like I've explained, order blocks. Now, here I know I would say these are my strong supports and these are my strong resistances. On the daily, I don't need to mark out these small ones like this one. No, I would come and mark them out on the daily, and I say, wow, currently the market is ranging. If I'm to analyze 3 weeks ago, the market is ranging. If you calculate all these, if you calculate all these candles, you get there are 75 candles in there. So 75 daily candles. So those are 75 days. So we know 3 weeks are made of 21 days. So we can know the market has been playing around there for more than 3 weeks. So what we do, we know it's in a range, but the range is formed after the market was in an uptrend. Now this is what I call top-down analysis, which we shall look at. We are still looking at the basics of how to draw support and resistances. So I wouldn't draw a trend line there. I would say we're still in an uptrend. Reason why, the market hasn't broken this low, this support, and the market hasn't broken above to show that we still have a continuation to the upside like this. Maybe at the retest, break and retest. We looked at break and retest the previous session. So this would indicate an uptrend if we see a break, and this would indicate a downtrend if we see a break with this level and a retest. So let's not go into deep analysis, but let's just mark out support and resistances basically. So I'm saying the market is ranging. And I've marked out my bigger supports and bigger resistances since they indicate a lot in the market. I'll drop down to the file. I think how organized it is. Now, I would know now this is my area. This is the area I'm playing with. So I would come on the file and say, this is what happened in the previous week. Around all this happened in the previous weeks. Now this is like 3 weeks ago. If you put let's see. Now if we start from here, be like this has happened in a month or 3 weeks ago. So what I would come and get where this trend began from on the 4-hour time frame. This is the whole trend. Now here we have a break of a previous high. I don't remember the structure of the markets. I do believe you remember. So I'd say the market was in a uptrend here, and it changed form, gave us a chart pattern and started dropping again. So what I would do is say my trend began from here. So I would come and mark out a trend line. You see, I start drawing trend lines. I start drawing trend lines on the 4-hour time frame. I don't begin on the daily unless it's a clear trend line. You get? I don't begin on the daily unless it's a clear trend line, unless it's a very clear trend line. So this is how I trade. Reason being, when the market was here, is my vertical line. When the market was around there, it gave us a second touch. This was a first touch, second touch. Now I told you how we draw trend lines is you take touch A and touch B. So the market, I would mark out this too, so that my trend line would run there. Again, trend line. Let me remove this now. So the trend began from here. This is a second touch. What we would be waiting for is a touch again to sell. That's why you see action around there. Now remember in the previous video, I told you a trend line loses value. I don't know if I told you this. The more times it's touched, it's the more stronger it becomes. But it also loses its strength. That's why if you see a first touch, second touch, third touch, the fourth touch is likely to break. If not the fourth, the fifth it will break. So if it's from a bigger time frame, it's more strong. Now, the third touch is always what you use for entry on the 15-minute time frame. But on the 4-hour time frame, until we see a break of that trend line, then there it's still strong. Now, I would come out and mark this trend line to indicate that, oh, it was in a downtrend. But what do we see? We saw a break of this trend line. So what did I tell you as? So I would say, now let me mark out my support and resistances on the 4-hour time frame. I'll come in, mark out this week. Get like that. Then I would draw a common one. Now, if I was here, let's take this current market position. I would mark out this, all of this. Get taking the wicks now, I would extend it back and no, this was the first touch, this. So my wick would begin from there. So I would know this whole area. I'm expecting action, maybe a drop, or I would let it go, the market go up to this level. But since this is the 4-hour time frame, these are many pips in between here. You get the market still has time to move above over the 45 pips, just 46 pips. So I wouldn't take the trade above this. I'll just be waiting for action around there. Market can come, create a wick and go back down. So I would just let the market go. So that's my resistance. Then I would come and mark out my support. It's already marked out here, but I'll show you advanced ways on how to mark out support. Now, I would use the 4-hour time frame also to determine the trend. What trend we have here? Since this trend line is already invalidated, it was already broken, and we had something called a retest. If the market was around here, we'd mark out this point, again, this one, and wait for the market to come back. Since it has already broken, now take this in notice. This market can come back up to the 61.8. We're going to look at fibs in the next session. Yeah, that's next weekend, I guess. So I would say, this trend line is already invalidated. I would delete it. So what I want is the current market movement. The market is giving me a bias of it's giving me a bias of a starting uptrend since we have a break of this previous lower high. Remember, it formed a lower high, lower low. It was supposed to give me a lower high here and give us a lower low, but what happened? Market passed, it broke this previous lower high, this one. It broke this previous lower high. I would mark it out. So what I would be waiting for is a retest here. So if the market is around here, now you see the way it formed this resistance. It would be coming back for a retest here. I'll show you another way of how to find likely points where the market will reverse from. So we have a break, a retest. So what I would do, I would mark out immediately it's here and it starts pushing up and around here. I would mark out trend line. That's on the 4 time frame. In case I've just opened the market, I would mark out a trend line. What would I be waiting for? A third touch to buy the market. So a third touch is always accompanied by a W pattern. Now, if you go on the lower time frames, you're going to find a W pattern here and a W pattern here. So I now know it's an uptrend since I've seen a break here and a retest. You get. Now I would be looking for a break above, maybe up to this point, then a retest. Now in that retest, it will find a trend line. You get. That's how I basically trade. It's very easy if you master it. So let's first mark out this since we're still looking how to mark out easy points. So now this is the 4 time frame. I've marked out my resistance here, my support for the market if it's around here. Then there's a trend line. This is the second touch and the third touch. Then I would go to the 4 time frame to get my current trend. Now we all see my current trend is in an uptrend. Is an uptrend. Reason being, I marked out this point. I waited for the market to come and break this previous lower high. I was waiting for a retest. This was the first retest. Of course, in the lower time frames, it's too much noise. That's why I use the higher time frames. But every time it comes back, expect action. But I wouldn't trade from here unless I would draw a smaller trend line in there like this. You get something like that. Something like this. Now, if you watch our GBP trade analysis for this week, which was posted yesterday, I sold this market to this level. Yeah, so now I would come here and say, this is my 1 hour time frame. I'm about to get entries. That's if the market was, what is that line? If the market was here, let's say I'm about to get entries. Since I've drawn my trend line from here, adjust that. So I'm about to get my entries. Reason being, this is a support. Touch my resistance. It's coming back to my support. And on my support in here, I have a trend line. So that's how I would trade the market. It's very easy. Just needs practice. So here I would have bought this pair after seeing these 4-week rejections to the upside. So that's how I just mark out. I know it can be crowded at the start. Yeah, when you're drawing this support range. So you don't need to mark out all this. Now in here, I wouldn't mark out the small ones. Yet now there are small ones because you're saying high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, high. I would go to the 15-minute time frame to mark them out. And this is how I would do it. I would come and say, since my trend begins from here, because this is like a 61.8 of the fib, what would I do? I'm seeing there's a break of structure here. I would mark out this rectangle. That's if I'm beginning. Right now, you can use the human eye. You can just know there's something happened there. Okay. So I'm expecting action. So I'll say this is my previous. Broke out this higher high, gave me a higher high, a higher low. It's lower than this one. So I'd be waiting for a higher high to be formed, then a retest. You get. Now take this point, these 2 points. Now take Forex as a zone, not as a point, a zone. Now I see this whole zone. I'm waiting for action because I'm expecting I push to the upside. So what I would do on the smaller time frame, I would first mark out my previous ones. Now this is a previous one, like here. You see this? This is a previous point here. That's a previous point. So what I would be left with is a trend line. Trend line. So you mark it out like this from where it begins. Mark it out like that. So right now I wouldn't be taking it straight because I'm biased, because I don't have a trend line touch. But if it was here, I would have taken this trade around here, this point. Reason B, I would have taken it from here because I wait for the candle to close. You get? So now this is a buy, break, retest, break, retest, break. This is a retest, but there is no confluence. Now you have to do confluence trading. Add them up. You're seeing a support, resistance, trend line. Those are 3. I mean, those are 2. Support and resistance is 1, and a trend line is next. So here there's no trend line touch. I wouldn't take this trade because it can come here and then drop. And we have something called the psychological level, which I'll teach you in the next. It's 1.2000, which I'll teach you in the next. So it may come here and touch that psychological level. If it breaks this trend line, remember the break and retest, may push, we may have a Monday gap, may play around. Unless it comes, touches here, that's when I'll have some bias. Then if it breaks, I'll expect a retest of structure. Why am I expecting a retest of structure? Now you see this point, this is our previous higher low. If it breaks my higher low, meaning there is a change in trend, that point has to be retested. Then I'll just come and retrend line like this. And that's how the downtrend begins. I hope I've answered your question. I don't know if you have any questions for me. I can repeat the whole process because we still have some minutes to go. So that's how we have broken down the market. And right now you see how clear it is. It's just a few touches, I know it takes time, but it can easily be done. So tell me if you have any questions. The chat box, share in the chat box. I want you to go. I also want you to go because, man, you told me what this and all that. So I just want you to perfect how to draw trend line, support and resistance, because this is where our market rotates. Just take the previous higher high, higher low as your initial, like the one you're looking at currently. Don't mind this small, even though you delete this. You can come back in the future and analyze that when the market comes back down this side. You don't need them. Currently, you only need these points. This one, this trend line is currently invalid, but you can leave it there. That's why I stick on the 15 minute, because that's where my current things are. Now, currently, my main focus is on this point, and this point maybe, and this trend line, because this is the far. Let's go to 15. It's currently at this trend line. That's why I'm expecting action, and this zone, because those are my current points. So even though I delete this, it will help me in future, but not right now. I can also delete this. That's why you see my charts are remain clear. This trend line, I'll leave it there. You can also delete this because the market has moved on. Let me delete this too. I have my bias in the head. I'm just waiting. So ask me any questions you have. I shared this. I think the people I shared with the link, some are offline. I know they would have done something. Though the video is recorded, it's pre-recorded here. So you can watch it at any time. Watch it. So ask me any questions, please. Harold, any questions? Can tell me to repeat the whole thing. We still have some minutes. So any parts you didn't understand. Yeah. So question dropped. But now you're good, you're in box. So I just hope you've understood everything. Now let me remove some people. Okay, let me leave Kishion. So Harold, I wanted to explain to you something. I'll explain it to you with time as we look at the strategies. Every day we add on something. The trading is that's not supposed to be complicated. So I don't know if you actually have videos you told me you are going to watch. Yeah, he didn't give me any feedback or what he had improved. He didn't give me any feedback. But you tell me in the DM, so yeah, it's a Sunday. So what would be now? Let me just analyze for gold a little bit. Now this is gold. I remember I analyzed gold with someone on Friday. Let's just go through gold a bit now. Not to trade it, but just to see the structure. How I would trade gold. Now you know I don't trade gold, but this is how I would analyze it. Now I'd come here and look at the daily and be like, there's something called a cup and handle pattern. I don't know if you remember it. I don't know if this case can trade. Let me use a brush. Let me use a brush. Use my brush. Now this is something called a cup and handle. It's not too perfect. It's too big. This is the cup, that down cup, and there's something like a handle here. So that's why we had a breakout in gold. Cup and handle is some kind of continuation pattern. Yeah. So this is what I would be looking for if the market was around giving me these vibes. I would be looking for price. Just wait for the breakout. So sometimes I use the daily time frame just to mark out structure. So I'd come and be like, since I'm looking for price up here, we're going to analyze. I would first come and say, wow, this is a good trend line here. I'll draw it out. This one would begin on the daily. But on the P1 trend line, I'll be like, oh, it's still an uptrend. After drawing a trend line is just used for determining the trend. It helps you trade with the trend. So I'll be like, oh, what's my support and resistance? I'll look at this point. That's why sometimes it's better to zoom out the market for you get to have a clear picture of how this whole thing is moving. So right now I can see I have this point. Our gold is about to really retrace. Wow. So I'd come and mark out this point as likely points, meaning it's on the resistance level. So on my daily time frame, I've seen where my resistance is. This is a support down here, but I wouldn't mind that right now. So I'd also mark out, I would say gold breaking this point. That wouldn't mark it out. I'll just let it go because I'm going to find it on the 4-hour time frame. So I'd say this is an uptrend. Reason being, the market was dropping. Let's trade previous trend line and see. So first I drop the trend. Oh, I'm running out of time. Let's do this in 9 minutes. So how do I draw this trend line? I'm just using it for analysis. So I'd say our uptrend reason being this previous points were broken, this and this. You get. So this is what I would mark. I'll be unless the market was around here, I would be waiting for it to come back here because I would just wait. This trend line wouldn't be there because this point wouldn't have formed. But if I see this action, I would buy because I know it give us a small W. So I would be it's an uptrend. So I can delete this since I already know it's an uptrend. So I'd come in here for a time frame. I'd say its uptrend is still valid. It's forming an unhealthy market movement. But now you know when I told you that the market spends only 30% of its time ranging, then 80% of its 30% trending, 80% ranging. I see the market moves very fast ranges for some good time, so many candles. More very fast to the upside ranges, very fast to the upside. Now it's going to range. Now I'd mark out my previous level which has just been broken, and that's this point. I just take this point here. It has been broken. So that would be my only analysis on gold. Then I would drop to the 4-hour time frame and mark out there's a break and retest. Let's say how valid that analysis is. I would come out and draw a trend line. So it wouldn't be valid right now. Just trade just like that. So I thought I would be waiting for. I would come here and also mark out the previous points that were broken, like this. But I know for it to reach here, it has to first break this. And we can also see something like this. See, can see something. It can rally back to this area and buy. Or it can break this area and just drop so fast, but that's impossible. Sometimes it's possible. It's very possible. Gold can drop overnight just to that area. So my trend lines are still valid. Yes. So that's what I would be waiting for. I would wait for the break and retest. Since we already saw that gold was respecting this analysis, it was coming back for retest. See this? It came back, broke, retest. Now we know it's moving. Here I didn't retest this point, but it was moving like this. Retested previous point. Now we know it moves. Come on the 15. We know. Now we know what we're looking for. We're just looking for a drop back to any area. Here we wouldn't draw a trend line. Some people would fix it there, but I wouldn't draw a trend line because it's an unhealthy market. But just be waiting for a pullback. So gold may play around for some time. So that's what my analysis would be. So allow me end this meeting, guys. 6 minutes are left on the live. So any questions, just send them to my DM. This video is recorded.